Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Saturday SOM Conversations. What a wonderful day it is, and I am so glad to be here with you to share some insights from our teachings and to allow us to get into this season of lights and holiday and reflection and to prepare for the new year. Because we are right now at a moment where uh, we're ready to birth a new world. We're ready to let our light shine all over. And so I am glad that you are here. For those that are willing to engage in conversation, please do so. Just send a text, and we will be engaging in this idea. So first and foremost, let's go inside with an invocation just to keep the spirit alive. And so right here, right now, we call forth the spirit of the divine, that creative power, that intelligent source that allows us to expand and contract as needed to fit into a world that is ever evolving. We know that that spirit is the seat of the foundation of all there is. And so we sit comfortably in that seat, allowing it to envelop us and to enliven us and enrich us to a better way of living. And so, with that, we know that that spirit is here with us now, and we are moving forth with that idea and with that intelligence as our guiding light. And so it is, amen. And so it is, amen. And so, as we step into this holiday season, normally at the beginning of the year, we start and we go through the whole textbook of Science of Mind. And now we've gone through the textbook and we're pulling from the archives, from the SOM archives, and looking at past SOM magazines or past creative thought magazines, and still staying within that spirit. And so today I have selected from a couple of old magazines, December issues. I've taken December 11th, i.e., December 2011, and I got something from 2013, and then I pulled a little something from March 13. And so we're going to go through this, and we're going to look at it and really begin to look at this season of light, as they say, the time of reflection, the time of shining forth, the time of providing um, inner light and light all over the world. And so I want to start, and we want to say good morning to Shay. How are you? Glad you're here this morning. If there's anyone else there, if you don't mind putting your name and having it shout out on the machine here, we'll do it. But the first thing that we want to look at is this idea, which is what the whole presentation is this morning. That is this idea of living in holy wholeness. Living in holy wholeness. Now, I've selected two quotes here, one by Joel Goldsmith and one by Albert Einstein. And one I wanted to start with this one from Joel that says, it makes no difference what the clock says or what the calendar says. It is still now and always will be now. Now, just ponder that for a moment. No matter what the clock says, no matter what the calendar says, no matter what the seasons are, it is still now in a holy moment, in a holy wholeness, meaning a sacred presence that is here right now at all times. And when we can step in that, we can fall into Albert Einstein's quote here that says, there are only two ways of looking, there's only two ways to live your life. One is that nothing is a miracle, and the other one is that everything is a miracle. So we see here between these two quotes as we step into this holiday season of living holy in this holy times for so many traditions, and looking at this wholeness of a new beginning. These two quotes, I think, set the stage for this holiday season. of staying in the now, regardless to what we see or what we think we are experiencing or what we may actually be experiencing, but understand it from a standpoint that everything is a miracle, and that we operate from that standpoint, that we begin to move in a way that allows us to really begin to live life holy, right? A whole, in a wholeness and a completeness and a oneness with ourselves and the greater oneness of all things, and holy in the sense of sacredness, that life is sacred. All life is sacred. We live in a sacred realm of experience. And when we are able to realize that and operate from that standpoint, this idea of living in holy wholeness begins to make sense. It begins to permeate who we are and what we are, so that we can step into a synchronicity of life, that we can step into this mystical approach of life where everything evolves into the one, and everything envelops into the one, and everything expands from the one. And that's what we get. I think that's the essence of this holiday season, this birth time, as we look at it, to move us forward into rebirth and to new light and to new way of expressing and being. So I think that if we can begin to do that, especially given the season that's coming up, the new way of looking in the world, we will be in a better place than we find ourselves right now if we're not living from this wholeness. Now, if you're living from that wholeness, then you're good. Just continue to do it. Continue to bring the light. But if not, let's think about what that means. Let's think about what that is. And so I want to just, if we go and look at this right here, you are a light in this world. And I took two quotes, one from our old editor, Claudia Abbott, from the 12/13 issue, and one from Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis from the December 2011 issue. And our former editor said this: as we light candles in our home and place them to worship this season, I invite you to contemplate the idea that we are each a candle of spirit, the place where God comes to a point of individualized expression. Through our conscious choice, we shine the light of peace, love, and joy. And Kathy Ann Lewis, Dr. Lewis quoted Dr. Ernest Holmes and said, Ernest Holmes made the point that this light is in everyone and can never be obliterated. He also states that we should seek to see the light and know through experience. I am the light of the world. From this inner experience of light, healing happens, great works of art are created, and joy and joyous, we see this holy light in others. What an awesome promise of the life abundant. What an awesome price of the life abundant. Now, this is the point of this season, I believe. From our teachings and our founder, Dr. Holmes, he says, this light cannot be extinguished. You can put it under a bushel, if you will, but you can never extinguish it. You can hide it. You can keep it from being, from illuminating the world. But that's not what a light is for. A light is to illuminate a place, to make things seen that may not be seen. And so this is that season. This is that time where we begin to go within, to reflect on the blessings that we receive, and those blessings come in good times and hard times, right? They're all blessings. We go back to that statement from Einstein, who he said, we can look at life as just everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. And when we look at it as everything is a miracle, we begin to step into these two quotes. We begin to step into this idea that when we begin to light our Christmas lights and candle lights and all the lights that reflect, we begin to invite this idea into our life, this idea of light, this idea of giving our light. This is the time of giving. So we begin to give our light, our intelligence, our unique perspective of the world that the divine has placed only in us. No one else has it. No one sees the world the way I do or the way you do. And we'll say good morning to Roy. Hey, Roy, for stepping in. And Roy has a specific light, and Wayne has a specific light, and Shay has a specific light. And so when we can make it a point, as Dr. Holmes said, for us to shine our light, not try to obliterate our life by fear or shame or doubt or lack of confidence. Be wholly who you are. That's what makes this life a miracle. Because when we each show up as our authentic self, all things are possible. All things are possible. So let us do that. Let us begin to look at life as we move into the new year with all kind of promises of a spectrum of ideas. Let's move into that idea of oneness, of light, of being a way shower for ourselves and for others by just being who we are. By not trying to imitate anyone or any of that, but by being exactly who God has created us to be. And when we can do that, and when we step into that, we understand, as this says right now, that time, this time, the time is now. This was from one of the spiritual guides, the daily guides, and it said, the more we become aware of the inner life of spirit, the more we can appreciate that when we say God is all there is, we really mean it. The truth of which Ernest Holmes speaks is the truth that God is expressing itself through all of its creation, fully and constantly, regardless of appearances or form that creation may be taking. Drawing water and carrying wood can be a beautiful prayer when we do these mundane tasks mindfully and with care. And that's where we are. Life is going to be life. And we understand from the sacred book of the universe that's been around for billions of years, it lets us know that life is a cycle, that there are patterns to lives, and that if we can step into that now, we become exactly what the world is looking for. We become exactly what the world is looking for, because whether we're, as it says here, we're drawing water or carrying wood, it becomes a beautiful prayer when we step into that miracle of life, knowing that not everyone can carry water or carry wood. Not everyone has been blessed with the awakening of this idea of this season to be a light, to reflect light, to give light, to receive light. Now, I want to stop right there and see if anyone wants to share any of their experiences of light and being whole. Because, when you look at light, there's no way to separate light. It's one whole thing that comes. And that's what we are looking to do in this holiday season and begin to move it forward in the new year. And so I'm excited about the new year. I'm excited about the the road ahead, all the twists and the turns and the ups and downs, and because I know that there is something within each and every one to take whatever we face and turn it to good. And turn it to good. We have to set that intention. This time of year, we set all kinds of intentions and prayers for a richer life, to be more joyous, to be more giving, to be more expressive. All these things is what this season, this teaching is about. That's what it's about. And so when we can step into that, when we can really embody that, we move forward now with this idea of letting your light shine. Joanne Bloom said this in the December 2011 issue in her story of reflection. She says, we speak of light a good deal in spiritual circles, but we talk about seeing the light in each other. We say namaste. In Christian circles, we may call it the Christ. In in Hinduism, we call it the Atman. In Buddhism, we call it the Buddha, or our Buddha nature. But whatever the language, we are talking of the same thing, a higher self that knows its oneness with God, that inner light, that inner light. And so when we are able to let our light shine during this time, this is what happens. We can begin to see the oneness regardless of the tradition someone comes from. Whether we're looking at the lights of Kwanzaa or the lights of Hanukkah, or we're looking at the lights of any other tradition, the solstice, all of these traditions are speaking to this inner awareness, this inner intelligence, this inner spark that the divine has placed in each and every one of us. In each and every one of us. I want to say that again, because sometimes we might look at someone and we might say, boy, that I don't know about that light, right? But it's okay if we don't see it right away. Sometimes we have to, if you're in the darkness and you cut on the light, it might take a little minute for you to get your focus and not be blinded by the light. But when you can adjust, you see. And when we all let our light shine, we begin to merge it, and it becomes one gigantic light. And we see and we see this light rising over the horizon, creating a new day, a new beginning, another chance, another opportunity to step forward holy. And that's why we're here. I believe God has sent us here to remember who we are and to shine our light so that everyone sees it, and we get into this dynamic divine flow that say we are here to love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember. This is that season. And Roy says this. Roy says, I see a lot of openings, a lot of open preaching here in northern Colorado. If we just live the principles of Ernest Holmes, people can see the light of the principles directly from us, without a doubt. Without a doubt. This is what it means to let your light shine, no matter what you do. No matter what you do. And so when we can step into that idea of letting our light shine, of being who we are, not being afraid to be who we are, but stepping into it wholly and boldly, we now are in a position to do that other part of this season, which is the giving. This is a season of giving. We give gifts, we give thanks, we give honor, we give glory. And so this gift of giving is something that that I think we should look at it as again, a way of shining that light, as a way of shining that light. And so that when we do that, we step into this idea, the gift of giving, that says it is not in lavish gifts that we find true giving, but in the sweet simplicity of remembrance, in the kindly thought, the tolerant mind, and the gentle act. Love alone can give love. Sympathy alone can give sympathy or sympathize. And only goodness can readily do and be good. And so Ernest says in this thing, he says, each of us has something to give. Let us each see that we give our best. If we are bringing our gifts to the altar of love, nothing less than the best will be accepted. Nothing less than all is enough. Nothing can hinder the divine flow into this except us, except our own free will. We are the only one who can hinder, if you will, this idea of giving the gifts that we have. So what are you going to give this Christmas? Not in a gift, but in a loving thought, in a kind act of service that carries over into this new year, that begins to create this world that works for all. That means the planet, the animals, the humans, the atmosphere, the water, everything. How are we going to show up to give this gift of ourselves? By understanding the oneness of it all, by recognizing that divine intelligent light that is within us all, that spark, so that we can ignite it and be an example. And as Ernest here says here, nothing can hinder the divine from flowing into us except our own free will. We have a choice to be the light that we are or not, to hide it or not. And this year, going into next year, this 2025 year, I should say, should be looking to share that light, to give that gift of ourselves, to give that gift of ourselves. So if you're there, and are there any ideas of how you hope or plan to give the gift of yourself this year? How are you going to expand and present the light, the love, the person that you are to the world? We celebrate in this time, this season, from the Christian perspective, the gift to the world of Christ, of the Christ idea, the Christ consciousness. That was God's gift to the world. This idea of becoming a conscious vessel of divine love. What is your Christ consciousness today? What are you giving birth to today, to take forth into life, to ignite, to be a way shower? Think about that. Think about that. What gift are you bringing to the world in this new birth to be a light unto all that sees it? And that's just a contemplation question. Let's contemplate that going into the new year. So we begin to really think about this holiday season and the Christ consciousness and this idea of this light that we are. What are you going to bring forth? What are you going to bring forth? I think that would be a great prayer and meditation as we move into the world of 2025, right? And remember, each of us has something to give. Let each see that we give our best. Whatever that is, make sure we do it in the best way. In the best way. Because at that point, once we're able to do that, then a new world, emerges. A new world is birthed. The birth of Jesus the Christ was that emulation of what life is every day. This idea of a new birth in a humble place, recognizing who we are and being able to let our light shine. And so when that happens, we can move forward in this birthing of a new world, a whole new world, where we stand in the midst of what some considers unprecedented personal and societal and planetary change. The extraordinary opportunity for us or before us is to meet any challenge by remaining centered in the truth of love and oneness, practicing the principles we embrace, and welcoming a new world into our consciousness and living. Think about that. That's this Christ's birth. That's what the birth of is about. It's about a brand new world, a brand new way of looking at things, regardless of the circumstances. When we look at the story of Jesus the Christ, he couldn't find a place to lay his head. There was no place for Mary to give birth to this new idea. But regardless of the circumstances that they faced, they found a humble beginning, a humble place to birth forth this new beginning by giving that gift, And so the birth of this whole new world, this holy new world, is being ourselves, to give of ourselves, to practice the principles of this teaching, and to live in conscious oneness with all things. Conscious oneness with all things. Because when we do that, what we're seeking is also seeking us. So we begin to attract, we begin to synchronize, we begin to find the divine flow that moves us in a way that it just unflows easily and effortlessly. Doesn't mean there won't be tacks in the road and twist and turn, but it still will be easily and effortlessly because we're allowing that divine light to lead us, to guide us, to be a beacon, to be a reckoning point for us to stay centered on who and what we are. To stay centered on who and what we are. And that is a light in the world. And so as we move forward in this holiday season, I would invite everyone to step into this idea of stepping into holy wholeness, sacred oneness. Wholeness is the embrace of ourselves just as we are, with nothing added or subtracted. The spirit of wholeness is to work with what we have, building on that as we proceed into all that we may be. Thus, there is no class necessary to take, or book to read, or anything else at all to do to put us on the right track into the whole being that we already are. Wholeness is an inner state whose outer evidence will vary from person to person, since we are each here to express the universe in our own particular way. And we know wholeness by how it feels. Therefore, each of us is a place for a new light to shine, the light which we ourselves carry. What a great way to end and begin this program today on the holiday season. The bringing of the light, the birthing of a new world, the bringing forth of a new way of living. And we do that by stepping into the sacred wholeness of who we are, just as we are. That is the gift of this season. That is the blessing of this season. And when we are able to do that completely, to give of ourselves, to surrender to this idea of love and light and rebirth, this is the time for such a place, for such a newness in this holiday season and giving. And so I'll stop right there, and I'll see if there's any questions or comments or dialogue that anyone wants to engage in around this idea of the season of lights, the time that we shine forth with the giving of ourselves, the birthing of a new way of looking and a new way of living. And when we're able to do that, we are at such a place that it all becomes one. It all becomes one. And so I'll see if there's any questions. If not, just remember that this is the Science of Mind and Spirit Saturday conversation. Comes to you every Saturday, 9 a.m. There's 45 minutes of talk and conversation and all of this for us to begin to live these principles, And so if there's no comments or anything coming in, I want to make mention of a program that's going to take place on Tuesday. This Tuesday, there's a program called New Thought Today that myself and Reverend Robert do, and we're going to be blessed to have Marianne Williamson as our special guest this Tuesday, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So tell your friends, make sure you block out the time, put the notification on so that when we bring forth this light of Marianne Williamson and her whole idea of this season where we talk about love. You know, her groundbreaking book was Return to Love. And so she's come out with a new book, The Mystical Jesus, that embodiment of love. And so we're going to have a great conversation. Please be there. I think you will enjoy it. And what a way to start the holiday season. What a way to start the holiday season in this remembrance of the birth of the Christ idea, than talking to our beloved sister Marianne Williamson and looking at this new book she's written called The Mystical Jesus. Basically, how do we begin to live that life of giving, of service, of being a light unto the world? And so I just want to say that it is always a pleasure to be here to engage and share ideas and conversation about the world that we live in. So I implore you to go out, if you can get the old magazines, or if you have them around. The ones I used today I used articles from the December 2011, December 2012, and December 2013. So all three of those are very, very chock full of ideas of being one and being with the self and reflection and giving and looking at the paradox of life. All of these things that we're faced with every day, and that this holiday season, I believe, employs us to take a look at, to engage, to be wholly involved in it, because that's the way of the world. That is the way of the world. And so please join me and New Thought Media and all of our friends of the network to really, step into it, to be involved. That we have a community is running across. If you're not a part of the New Thought Network community, go here and join. Go here to be informed, to stay in tune. And if you enjoy this program, whether this one or any of the other ones, donate. Go to www.newthoughtmedia.org and hit the donate button. And allow this kind of teaching, this way of being, to continue, to populate our consciousness with ideas that are wholesome and healthy and guide us to a new way of being. Guide us to a new way of being. And so, as we come to a close, I want to thank everyone for being here and listening. It's always my pleasure to engage in these ideas of the religious science of mind that beckons us to be the gift to the world that we seek. And we know that in that light, as we give, so shall we receive. There's the law of circulation that's always in effect. And so with that, I thank you, and I say have a wonderful rest of the day and a great, great holiday season. Peace and blessings.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings. On behalf of the New Thought Media Network, thank you for being with us for this special prayer broadcast. We look forward to being with you again soon, 8:15 a.m. or 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time. Until then.